Let's face it, Breath of the Wild Link in Smash Bros. Ultimate is pretty much just Link, but with remote bombs. They didn't do a lot to kind of utilize what made Link Link in Breath of the Wild, and didn't do anything to make him unique in Smash Bros. In that aspect. So today, I wanted to take our brand new boy, Link from Tears of the Kingdom, and incorporate them in Smash and make a full-fledged moveset based on how they did with the DLC characters, making them extremely unique with cool properties that many of the other characters in the roster do not have. Of course, I'm hoping that all characters get treatment like this in the next Smash Bros. So as we prepare for that, whenever the next Smash Bros. Will be, why not start here with Tears of the Kingdom, a brand new moveset for Link. Of course, I didn't take the time to make sure that everything in this moveset was 100% balanced. There might be some things that could be a little bit unfair and stuff, and that obviously would be adjusted by professional video game devs, so don't, attack me too much for some of these things and ideas. I just wanted to make it really fun and really unique for this character. But before we get started, thank you guys so much for your recent support. You guys have been doing amazing. We are on the road to 250,000 subscribers, and 15% of you guys subscribed, and we are so very close. So stop what you're doing right now, support the channel, leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this, and let's dive in to the Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom Link moveset. So lots of his basic moves are going to stay the same. That goes for his jabs and his tilts, where Link will probably just still have his 3 quick slices with his sword, and for the tilts would also be the same. He's just swinging the sword around from either side, above him and below his feet. There's no real reason to change this. Link pretty much still does things like this within the game, where he just swings his sword every which way. So changing this would just be petty, and it really wouldn't make a lot of sense. So Link is going to gain the ability to have brand new moves that we really don't see with any other characters in this game. One of these moves is a shield parry. Link can now hold the shield button and press B while holding the shield to parry incoming attacks, stumbling the opponent or shooting things back like a reflect, which would be really cool. Imagine another character shooting an arrow or throwing a rock or, anything that they have, and it bounces back. You can actually time your parry in order to shoot it back, like Samus's charge shot as well, where all you have to do is hold shield and press B. This could be a really cool thing, just like the games, where if an enemy even tries to hit you, you can stun them for you to jump in for attacks as well. One thing that just screams Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom Link is to perform a flurry rush, where he can spot dodge or move back or forward at the very last second of an attack from their enemy to do a flurry rush attack. Now we've seen this with certain characters, like Bayonetta can do it as she goes into her bat mode, and so can Pyra and Mithra as they do a quick dash. Well, I think it's technically just Mithra, but you know what I'm saying. This is already a mechanic in Smash, so what if Link had his flurry rush? And it also gave Link a small inevitable time to rush up and hit his opponent with a jab or a 3-sword strike, which would be really cool. Now the window would be super small in order to hit this, just like a couple of frames that you have to hit this in, but it would add a really unique move to Link's overall moveset. Like I said, once again, Bayonetta doesn't do it a whole lot. It's a very small window in order to activate that, and Mithra's as well, so I would love to see Link do something similar. Another thing would be really cool is his new grab. It will have lots of range this time, where you can actually shoot out a little hand or a glowy green/blue hand in order to grab an opponent that's either off stage or far away. Once you grab them, you will perform the throw from where you grab them at, from very far. For instance, if you grab them off the stage, you can then perform your throw off the stage, meaning you could throw them up, down, left, or right, even further off the stage, which is really cool. Now, it will be a slow-moving projectile hand that shoots out when Link uses Ultra Hand in order to grab somebody, but once you grab them, you can perform that throw instantly. You don't even have to bring them back in. Link's smash attacks don't really change either, because they're just heavy sword swings. There's no use of changing these up. He swings it above his head, out in front of him, or down below him and covers both sides, but the only thing that will change is what he's swinging and the effects on his blade, which I'm about to get into right now. Now for the specials, and this is where things get kind of crazy. His down B will bring up a quick inventory across the screen horizontally like we see in the game. It will pop up sections for Link to drop an item, full of mostly elemental items, maybe a couple of tip fuses for horns, maybe even some weaker other weapons like other swords, spears, and shields as well, but also maybe even some more Zonai devices that he can fuse. But he can drop these different elemental things like these fire or ice or electric jellies, gems, bomb flowers, and maybe a couple of powerful tips like I said, and he has the access to actually fuse them. Now this is just the down B right now, is bringing up the inventory and dropping different things. I want to note that other other players can pick up your drop materials and even throw them off the stage or throw them at you for you to even catch on fire if they pick up your fire fruit, or, you know, turn you into ice if they pick up your ice fruit. So you have to be careful and be quick when doing this. But side B is what actually allows you to fuse these things. When you push side B, it lets you put an item on your shield or on your sword, and you can choose real quick from a quick menu clicking shield or sword, and it will work the same way the Master Sword does in Tears of the Kingdom, by having it glow a neon green and putting whatever is at the end on the end when you swing it so that the players can see what's connected to the Master Sword. Now you can give yourself fire attacks, electric attacks, and all kinds of stuff with this, or just make your sword longer by extending an extra sword in your inventory. And you won't be able to use these forever, as they'll break probably very quick after a couple of attacks, meaning you'll have to fuse yourself a new one. You can't just keep using that same weapon that you fused, which means you have to stop what you're doing in order to drop a material and fuse it before your enemy hits you. So it's about placement and knowing when to fuse things before you get hit. And once again, you can also fuse things to your shield, so if you shield bash or just hold your shield up and someone hits it with a certain element on it, it could get that effect on them, freezing them, so they have to be careful when they attack you if you have certain things on your shield. But once again, the durability won't last very long, and your items in your inventory aren't many. You'll probably have one of each every single stock you respawn, so you have to use them wisely. You can also use the bomb flower in order to put on your shield to do the bomb hop, and I'll explain how this works in a second. Now, bows are a little trickier. Not really. You can't just stick things on your arrow after you drop them. You have to actually fuse them while you pull the arrow back. So all you'll have to do is hold B in order to shoot an arrow, and then press L or R in order to fuse a specific thing to your arrow by moving through the menu real quick. So you could shoot a fire, electric, or even ice arrow, or maybe even a bomb arrow out, or maybe just tie a Zonai device to it and do something stupid, but it could just be fun to use in Smash Brothers the same way it's fun to use in Tears of the Kingdom. But you pretty much have your inventory. You'll have a limited amount of resources to use for whatever you want, whether it be fusing it to your shield, fusing it to your sword, or fusing them to your arrows. But once you run out, you're completely out, and you're back to basic Link with your regular shield and sword. So you have to be smart with how you use your resources. Just think of Minecraft Steve and all the input that goes into it. You know, knowing how much you need to mine, knowing what material you have, and what you're going to mine out of it. So if Minecraft Steve can do something that complicated, I feel like just pulling out an item and fusing it could be very possible in Super Smash Brothers. Guess what? I decided to give Link a back B. If Terry could have one, so can Link, and it will be his recall. This has a long recharge, but allows you to rewind yourself back to a previous spot super quick, but it does not re-heal yourself. You still will take the damage, but you can prevent yourself from flying off the screen sometimes, and you can revert back to a spot real quick. Now, based on how long it would take if it does the regular way, like in Tears of the Kingdom, it would just look weird of him slowly coming back into a spot. You know, I know you can't rewind yourself in the game, but it would look weird doing it slow in Smash Brothers. So maybe it has kind of a tracer effect from Overwatch. Yeah, I'm making that comparison, where he kind of flashes back real quick to that previous spot in a flash, making it a super quick sequence, which would be really cool. Or maybe there's a way for you to aim and click on a player in order to rewind them back like 3 seconds, so that way you can set up a cool combo. I really don't know how this would work, but maybe you can aim and click and send someone back 3 seconds what they just did, and maybe you can like send them back off the stage real quick if they just came onto the stage and spike them. Yes, this is an extremely complicated one, but I feel like if anyone's going to make it work, it's definitely Sakurai. And the final special is Link's Up B. A giant giraffe will shoot up in the air, allowing Link to pull out his paraglider, and he can glide upward before coming back down. You can also pull out the glider if you're already in the air. For instance, if your opponent smacks you in the air, you can maybe push some type of new combination, or maybe just tap up once and hold it, and you can pull out your paraglider in order to slowly glide back down. But you can also have the option to dive back down to the ground. By pushing down B in the air, you can do a quick dive back down, and you won't take obviously any fall damage. It's Smash Brothers, that doesn't exist. Link's aerials will stay the same, where he can pretty much just, you know, kick his feet out or swing his sword in the air. There's not much else to really add there. But now obviously he has a down B while in the air in order to fast fall, and you could do a side B while in the air. This will allow Link to shield serve. Now maybe this allows you to slowly move on the ground for a little while, but it will also provide protection for when you land, meaning that no one can hit you with an up smash or with any type of air attack while you're falling down with your shield on your feet. And it will probably do slight damage when it hits them. But the real reason you'll want to use this is when you fuse a bomb to your shield. Yes, you can do the shield pop-up, which will allow you to get extreme height. So if you want to chase somebody off the stage, you can hurry up and fuse this to your shield and do a shield pop up into the air where you can hit them off the stage as well, which would be a really cool combo thing. I can see people doing some insane stuff with this and making, you know, Smash Brothers feel like a Tears of the Kingdom speedrun. And finally, we have the final smash. Quick warning, I am going to show a quick scene that's part of the tier cutscenes that you collect in the game. It's not necessarily the end of the game, so if you don't want to be spoiled with anything, please don't watch this. It has to do with the imprisoning war, so if you don't want to see anything with this, just skip ahead to the time on screen, but this is what Link will do. Link will cock back his arm when he's ready to use his final smash and jam it forward, slamming it into his opponent's chest, very similar to the way Rauru did Ganondorf. This will then create a sequence where your opponent will fall to the ground into a cutscene where Link quickly builds together a giant Zonai construct full of cannons, beam emitters, and everything you can think of. Fire, electricity, ice emitters, everything. And it just starts firing all these lasers and cannonballs at your opponent, blowing them up, and eventually the Zonai construct lifting a giant foot in the air and slamming it down on the ground, stomping on your opponent or punching them down on the ground, whichever looks cooler. Guys, that's a Tears of the Kingdom Link moveset in Smash Ultimate. Let me know if you would change anything, guys, or what you would add to this moveset, and if you really like this video and want to see another one like it, maybe I'll make a different version, maybe utilizing the champions or the sages instead of more of his arm abilities. But let me know in the comments down below. Leave a like and subscribe, and of course, like always, I'll see you on the next one. See ya, guys.